Greetings and hello once again. This here is the ancient spirit, Tralaka. Well, at least in spirit. On to part 3 of video 48. The next morning, I was released from the hospital. Well, I was signing the papers. I was up in my hospital room, technically, after they ended up taking out my appendix. The doctor came into the room just as I was getting dressed. The doctor asked, "Did you fall on something at work that day? This great pain happened? Or did something big and sharp fall onto your right side?" "Why?" I asked. "Well, I remembered you told me before we put you out for the operation that I would find 3 red lines that were like cuts across my appendix and perhaps some bleeding on it. And as a career doctor," as he points to his name tag, "I take things with humor," he replied. "But," he continued, saying, "when I opened you up and found a full-size appendix, and it looked like something dragged something across it, and there was some light red lines across it on an angle." He blocked the doorway now, focusing directly on me with his eyes. As I was now fully dressed and ready to leave, he replied, "Do not fool with me. There is no way you could have known what your inside looked like, and there is no way you could have actually, in reality, come up to the emergency room on a stretcher to the desk and ask the lady at the emergency room desk, 'Oh, I would like to order tonight an emergency appendix operation. Could you please put that on the time slot, though, as important?'" The doctor was tapping his right foot on the ground now, too, and frowning at me. And then he continued, "I am the doctor. It is me who has the experience and the massive schooling. It is me that makes these decisions of what is hurt or needing to be removed, not the patient. There is no way you could have possibly have known to that precise amount of what was going inside of your body, and those red lines, and the size of the appendix, and that on the outside of your appendix, those lines. This is stuff that's inside of your body. Did I say this is stuff that's inside of your body? You can't possibly know this." I reached up to my long hair with both hands and I fluffed it up so it was nice and poofy. And I looked back at the doctor, who I seemed to have ruffled his feathers a bit. "Ah, not again. No, no, really. I think he was really mad." I was starting to wonder if it truly was a good idea to be standing in front of a 3-story window in my hospital room as this doctor's eyes were sharpened like lasers, staring at me, feeling like they're going through me. I started to open my mouth to very carefully answer back. "Oh no," the doctor says. "I don't want to hear that line you gave the nurses last night. In this hospital, things are done like the same way, day in, day out, night in, night out, as fully trained professionals in the medical field, in the reality, 3-dimensional world we are in." "But no," he replied. "But no," he replied. I sighed. "Thank you, very kind sir, for being awakened out of your sleep to operate on me at a time like this. For this I am greatly grateful for all of your knowledge in my time of so dire need of needing repair," I said as I then smiled. "Thank you," he said, and he moved away from the doorway. "Though," he started to say as he was turning, and he scratched his chin, and then shook his head. Have a nice day, and please take at least 2 weeks per my orders to rest the body. Because I worked on you. It's my call. I was wheeled out in a wheelchair a few moments later by a really nice looking red-headed nurse to the front door of the hospital where my girlfriend was waiting in the car. That evening, da, 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 we had a visit in our apartment by the very old dragon. We still have a lot to talk about, the three of us, he says. He showed me in my mind how certain ancient swords were made, which could not be broken except in extremely rare situations. Though some of this tech we use in this world now, as I used to be a foundryman myself, and actually I worked on some of the machines that had a very rough simulation to the machines I was shown. However, this is though where it stopped. As for, I just sighed. Mr. Dragon, please understand. Talk slower, okay? All right? All right. So he went on. So this is how I will explain it to you. Besides the machine spinning at a certain RPM, it also needs to be vibrating at a certain frequency that would make a dog worker species ears to just begin to bleed in both ears, if not protected with very specific hearing protection for the dog being species, for they're the only ones that can actually make them without being driven insane and bursting from the vibrations. The object is to make the entire sword, each atom of the metal, as it is molten and being poured into the metal dies, for each atom of that metal being poured to resonate with one specific frequency. So each atom of the whole sword becomes a single piece of metal sword that is one atom. It is that refined. And there is no lines between those atoms or molecules. It must vibrate to create such a perfected atom unbroken oneness. On the bottom of the sword that's in front of the handle is layered a triple layered locking ring of that same type of metal with 12 little pockets showing frontwards that put 12 thumb-sized, very specific crystals just inside of that ring across from the others. On each side of the blade is two crystals, which run the other 12. Remember some of the videos I told you there are 14 signs of the zodiac? The number is here also, 14. This here is the ancient spirit Tralaka. As always, journey safely, journey far, journey to many worlds, experience many things, and become wiser because of it. This is the ancient spirit Tralaka. Good night.